How's it going? It's Jeff from jeffrey-thomas.com, and let's take a look at Vampire Weekend's A-Punk for the bass. So I'm going to use the top line to demonstrate fingerstyle and then the pick. So fingerstyle would use letter names P for the thumb, I for your first finger, M for your middle finger, and A for your ring finger. And then you would alternate with I and M. That's if you're going to use fingerstyle. So the top line would be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then okay. And then continuing through the whole tune and the rest of the lesson, I'm going to be alternating with these two dudes, I and M. Now, a little bit on the setup. I'm keeping my thumb rested on the edge of the pickup here for support, and then just having at it with alternating. Right? If you were to use a pick, I would personally grab a heavier pick, so this is a Fender Heavy, and I never use the pointed edge of the pick like all the method books show. I always tuck the point into my hand, and I use this rounded edge here. It's like a bigger bat. Anyway, it's up to you. That's how I hold a pick. And the guy in the recording in the band, I'm pretty sure is using a pick, so it makes it a bit easier. Anyway, I'm running the top line again with the pick. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So on the direction of the picking, that was a demonstration of all down. You can use alternate picking when you hit the eighth notes. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This third measure of the top line. Okay, so you notice how I'm going to down, up very strictly there. If you want, you can add in a palm mute, which is just lightly resting the palm on the strings here towards the back of the bridge, right? From what I've heard on the recording and live footage, he's kind of going in and out of palm muting certain sections. So it's really keeping your ears open and checking the tune out. Like I said, I'm going to walk through this whole lesson with I and M because I just like using fingerstyle. But I do think that if you were to play this tune, you might want to use a pick. But either way is fine. So let me start you from the intro, and then we'll get through the rest of the tune. So ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Continuing to the second line. Okay, then dropping down to the 5th fret on the 4th string. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and I'm rest there, last beat of the second line, and then into the verse. Brings us up here to the 17th fret. Okay, notice the verse has a repeat of 3 times, right? So that was once, and then again. Second time. Time, and then we continue on. Drop back to 5. Okay, repeat sign, back up for another verse. Second time. Third time. goes to the bridge at 41 seconds into the tune. So 17, this measure is going to repeat 2 times. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then we continue on. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. I'm sorry. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, now you can do the fingerings 2 different ways in this area here. I'm specifically talking about the first measure of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th line down. This is the last measure of the bridge. So you can either roll your 3rd finger here, you can go, or you can go, which is a little cleaner when you separate the 2nd and the 3rd finger for these 2 notes at the 17th fret, you know. On the recording, I think I remember seeing him rolling his 3rd finger. But either way, that measure is important to point out because, you know, sometimes it's a little muddy if you roll your 3rd finger there. You've got to have good control. For example, or if you just separate the 2 fingers there, your 2nd finger and your 3rd finger, it's a little bit cleaner. Up to you how you want to finger it. Okay, so notice again we have 3 times here. So the bridge is going to repeat again. This would be our 2nd time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now up again to the top of the bridge for the 3rd time. Repeat. Okay, and then that was a 2nd, 3rd combo, right, with the fingerings. Continuing on, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and repeat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, and then the last line is and then hey, 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 break, and then you're back up to another verse. So that's pretty much everything that's happening in the tune as far as like parts. And obviously it's difficult for me to map out the whole tune on one piece of paper, so there's not a lot going on as far as like structure beyond this. So you have everything you need to play the song. I do want to point out a couple interesting things. These little, I've written them as chords, so you'll notice up in the chord diagrams I have A, and then G, and then D. So if you wanted to start to understand what's going on, that's an A chord, just those 2 notes, and you drop back, G, and then it's going to D. This is in the key of D major, and so it would be like playing an A chord, a G chord, and a D chord. You could probably break away from the bass line and go, you know, things like that. Block chording, I and M on both those notes, pulling away from the bass. And these are in a register where they're not too muddy. They'll ring out pretty cool on the bass, so if you wanted to start to throw those in, that'd be fine. Also, I wanted to include a D major scale for you, so you'll notice the top line in the chord diagram. I've written a D major scale starting here at the 10th fret, and we'll alternate with I and M through this. So it's going to be 2, 4, going over to the 3rd string at the 9th fret, 2, 4, going over to the 2nd string, frets 9, 11, and 12, cutting over to the 1st string, frets 9, 11, and 12. Okay, D major scale. If you wanted to throw some licks in, that's any note in that pattern is fine over these this chord progression in this key. And then also I've sort of highlighted a chord shape for a D major chord. And this is another voicing that works well on the bass. So I have my first finger at 10, my third finger at 12 on the third string, and then my second finger over to the first string at the 11th fret, and then in my right hand I'm using P, I, A, and springing that away from the bass. So if you wanted to, you could probably go like you know, to start to mess with it, because the chord progression is basically A, G, right? D, 2, 3, 4. You know, so if you want to start to jam it up and do some different things, there's options on a tune like this. It's a very simple 3-chord song. Anyway, I hope that was halfway interesting, and you can decide whether you want to use a pick or your fingers, but there's a good explanation of how to do both. I'm teaching live with webcams on Skype, Uvu, Yahoo Messenger, Windows Live, so look me up, and I will talk to you soon. Later.